Hey, it's Leah. It is Thursday, April 8th at 12:05 p.m. Central European Time. This is Italy out there, and I normally go live at 4 o'clock, so if nobody tunes in, I'm totally okay with that. I don't expect there to be anybody out there anyway, since we do go live or later in the day. But today, my son Alex, who sometimes joins me on the show, is going to have his wisdom teeth stitches removed at 4 o'clock, and that's the time that we are usually live. So, I did promise a few people a few weeks back that I was going to make some Native American fry bread, and last week I did not get a chance to do that because we were at the dentist early in the day getting Alex's wisdom teeth yanked out. So when we got home, we just did a quick chicken marinade and some grilled chicken skewers, but now I want to show you my fry bread recipe. So, before we get started, I'm just going to let the water run for a second. I just need some tepid, lukewarm water. Now this is a really easy recipe. It is 4 cups of flour to 3 tablespoons, 3 little kind of bunches of baking powder, not baking soda, 2 teaspoons of iodized salt, table salt, and 2 cups roughly of water. All right, here we go. So apologies. All right, I have 2 cups of lukewarm water. I already measured out 4 cups of just all-purpose flour. You can use self-rising flour in this recipe, and if you do, just omit the salt and the baking powder since they're already in self-rising flour. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and continue on with 3 tablespoons of baking powder. So, Native American fry bread. I love it. It's delicious. It has become a staple of some Native American families' lifestyles. It's eaten every day with like mutton stew or some soup, or just as bread. But it does have kind of a dark history. Through my research, I found that I think the Navajo tribe, the Dene, have been credited with sort of the creation of Native American fry bread, even though it's made on reservations and in homes all across America. And it was made through the staples, the rations that were given to them by the government, by the military, as they were forced off of their lands and they were forced away from their gardens, their, where they planted, where they hunted, where they gathered, and from their crops, right? And forced onto land that wasn't as pleasant and as hospitable. So it's a dark part of American history, of Native American history, and of American history. But nowadays, it still is a big part of American diet. It does contribute to, rise of obesity, because Native Americans have these problems, before the colonization. I mean, I don't want to go down a really dark path here, but you can try this now at powwows. There are great, stands in like Gallup, New Mexico, and all through the Southwest where fry bread is king. There's a great documentary about there called More Than Fry Bread. It's kind of a spoof on the World Fry Bread Competition, and it's hilarious and it's amazing. It was made in part with 22 indigenous communities, so check it out if you can. All right, so I've just whisked together my flour, my baking powder, and my salt, and I'm slowly and gently going to add in a little bit of water, and I'm going to do this a little at a time and mix it up. This is kind of the traditional way of making it in a bowl, and I did it very untraditionally by measuring my ingredients. Most fried bread making aunties and grandmas don't measure. It's all by touch, it's all by hand. I am not that well versed in doing it by hand, so I do measure. Plus, I want you to have an easy access to a recipe if you do want to make this on your own. This goes great with a really nice thick stew. Maybe a little powdered sugar and cinnamon or honey on top for a little treat for the kiddos. But yes, the aunties and the grandmas, they do this without measuring. Very much like the Italian grandmas out here where I live. A pile of semolina flour or regular flour, type 00, what they call it out here, refined flour, and eggs, and it's like a handful of flour to an egg. It's no measurement. All right, so I added a little bit of water at a time because with the humidity today, it's a beautiful sunny day out there. I don't know if you can see. Yesterday it was cold. There were flurries at around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Snow flurries. It's snowing in Slovenia. It's snowing in Germany. It's April. And the weather here, it's just kind of crazy. So that being said, I've found that when I tend to mix flours, pastries, breads, doughs, the humidity in the kitchen is affected, does affect my cooking. And so I will kind of err on the side of caution. You can always put more in, but you can't take out. Now flour and water, you can always add more flour if you've added too much water, and that's not a problem. But we're live here. I don't want to spend all day kneading my fry bread dough. So I'm just going to err on the side of caution. Okay, let me pull some of this off my hands. And I'm just going to switch hands here. Go to my more dominant hand. Well, let's see, let's stick with the left for now. Try to get a little bit more of this fry bread off of my fingers. So what you want to do is knead the dough until it's nice and soft. Same thing if you're using the self-rising flour, just knead until it's nice and soft. And in that case, you would just use flour to water. So, looks like there might be somebody out there. Again, we're here a little earlier only because Alex is getting his wisdom teeth stitches pulled out today. And I'm going to be at the dentist at 4:15 today. And we live like 35 minutes from the dentist, so I won't be going live at 4 today. But if you watch the show, you know I'm just addicted to doing this every week. I absolutely love it. I love spending time with you. I love getting the feedback from people who say they feel more confident in the kitchen with what they're doing. They don't mind my little mistakes as I make them because they can see in real time that a professional chef does make mistakes more often than I care to admit, and that it's okay, you know? And I'm really excited about doing these videos because I want people to maybe have a little bit more appreciation for being in the kitchen. It's hard work. If you don't love it, like I love it. I love being in the kitchen. You could put me here for 14 hours working all day long and I would be so happy. But not everybody feels that way. And if there's anything I can do, give you a trick, give you a tip to help you feel a little more confident, that's what I'm about, right? Again, here in Italy, we're in lockdown. It has been extended till I think the 18th and the 16th though. So unless it's a medical appointment or grocery shopping, you can't go anywhere legally. You have to have documentation. You have to have a reason for going out. Okay, so my dough is still a little dry. I'm just gonna dip my hand into the water and just kind of wet the dough. And that's what we get for going live, right? I was gonna tape this, but I'm not a fan of editing videos. I'm not a fan of like having you see this before that might have been chaotic and then this like perfect after, because it's not always like that. All right, the dough's getting a little softer. It's still a little dry. I've got a little paper towel here to kind of keep the bowl from moving all over the place, and I'm just using my hand, my left hand here, and to get some of this dough off my fingers, to just kind of move the bowl around in a little circle as I'm kneading the dough. Okay, it still needs to come together a little bit, so I'm just gonna wet the dough just a little bit more. And I can see their comments. I can't see what they are. My Mr. Alex is up in his room doing homework, or he's got a class right now, so I am flying solo at the moment, but I will get to your comments after we're done going live. Okay, let's hope I didn't make this too wet. I think I can save this. All right. So in a perfect world, we would knead this. Oh my gosh, I totally slid out of frame. Okay. We would knead this for probably about 7 minutes, all right? You want it to feel nice and soft. I did not realize I was traveling so much. All right, I picked up pretty much all the flour from the inside of the bowl. All right, it looks pretty clean. The dough isn't super tacky. It's got a little bit of tack there, only because it just needs another few minutes of kneading. But we're live. I've already gotten my workout in. Whew. So I'm gonna put this aside and bring up the dough that I just did about 45 minutes ago. The one thing with this dough is you will want it to rest. You do want to let it sit covered with a kitchen towel or plastic wrap for about, I'd say minimum 30 minutes. You could probably be okay at 15, but I think the longer it rests, the better it is, the better the fry bread is. So I'd say 30, if you can, 45 minutes. But here's our dough so far. It's soft, right? It's gonna rest. So I am going to put a cover on that and swap it out with the dough that I just did right before we came on the show. I'm just putting my little towel over And then if you can see, the dough is nice and smooth. I did knead it for probably an extra minute or two than the dough I just did right now. And I'm all dirty. But before we move on, I'm going to carefully bring my hot oil over. I didn't have it sitting here because if you can see, the table was moving and it was dangerous, right? So don't make your fry bread and your dough on a rickety little table. It's just not safe. But what I did do was I have my Dutch oven. It's nice and hot. I'm able to safely move it because I only have about 1 inch of oil in there, so it sloshed around a little bit. It didn't come out over the edge. Please, 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 if you're at home, do not move pans of hot oil unsafely. If you can, don't move them at all. If you need to, maybe think about what you're going to fry beforehand and maybe put it in a deeper pot, which is what I did. I originally was going to fry in this little pan, but I knew I'd be moving it, and I didn't want to risk the sloshing of the oil. I didn't want to risk doing something unsafe. You will see me do crazy stuff here. I'm not always the safest. I'm not always, on point because I am live, but I will do my best to let you know, kitchen safety is of the utmost importance. And that goes back to sharp knives, hot oil, hot surfaces. All right, so I've got my fork here just to turn the fry bread once it's in the pot. And what I didn't do was get a plate ready for my fry bread to come out of the oil. All right, so got that there. Pretend I have clean hands, and all I'm going to do is just take a piece of dough, and I'm just going to use my hands to shape it, and just kind of start stretching it, right? The grandmas and the aunties, they do this by hand. They are experts, like pros. There's no way. Like, I don't do this every day. I do this maybe once or twice a year, so I don't have that dexterity. I don't have that muscle memory, but what I am doing is just stretching it by hand. And now the proficient fry bread makers, they will do the slap and kind of stretch it out. I am not there yet, okay? Like I said, I don't do this very often, so I'm going to pull out my rolling pin, and I'm just going to give it a little roll just to kind of stretch out a little bit, and we'll see if I can do the snap. I don't know if I can. If you ever made tortillas, it's kind of like making tortillas, making pizza dough. So you're just kind of stretching it out with each toss. All right. So fry bread cooks very quickly. You don't need to cook it for a very long time. I still want it a bit bigger. And again, I'm not proficient. I'm live. I'm nervous, you guys. So I am going to cheat a little bit and just roll it out. Now, the oil will push the gas from the baking powder in there to bubble up, right? And the dough is going to kind of dome up. In order to not have that happen to my fry bread, I am going to poke a hole in the middle, right? And this is just going to make it so that the oil goes through and the steam goes through, and it doesn't poof up my bread so it gets like this nice big pocket. So I think my oil's good. Just to test it, I'm going to drop a little piece of bread in and see how that cooks. It's just a little smidge, just to see if the oil is hot enough. I think we're almost there. Now I'm going to fry with vegetable oil. Traditionally, one of the rations that was given to the native peoples was lard. It was like lard, sugar, salt, and flour. I think coffee might have been one of the other rations. So not the best things for you. So this typically, in a lot of households, is fried in like that snow cap lard or shortening. The lard, you can do it in Crisco. It does give you a better, crunchier, hands down, I think a better product. But I'm not cooking with lard today. I'm cooking with vegetable oil, which you can use. You just want to use a really high temp oil because you want this almost like smoking. And if it's lightly smoking, it's perfect. But again, in your households, I want you to be safe. So I don't want you to be frying unsafely. All right, so the oil is just about there. I'm going to increase the temperature just a little bit, and we'll get this fry bread cooking. So I'm going to lay this in away from me, right? I don't want to have the oil splash back at me. So chef tip here, lay your bread away from you and carefully. All right, let me try this little smidge that I pulled out. Oh my gosh. This isn't a good little piece of fry bread, but it's delicious. So, if you do try this, I hope you will like it. It doesn't have a happy history, but it is still a very valuable food source for a lot of people in this country. So I highly encourage you to make it. I encourage you to make it with your hands. Show your kids, enjoy it. Have it with a nice hearty beef chili or some stew, a little bit of powdered sugar, a little bit of honey. There are some great chefs out there. One of my favorites, indigenous chefs, is Sean Sherman, and he has this great cookbook called The Sioux Chef's Indigenous Kitchen. I love his book. He has great recipes, all that feature really sort of clean, real-to-life, not processed, not floured, but like real American ingredients that Native peoples have been eating for millennia. And it's a great cookbook, and he does have a fry bread recipe in there that is like a step above. It's amazing. It's super fresh. It's super cool. If you have the chance to check out the book from your library, check it out. And if not, Lois Ellen Frank is also another Native American chef, and she has this fry bread recipe in her book. I think hers is a little different than mine, just on the quantities. But it's a great book. It's got great recipes, great stews, great chilies, adobe bread, all these other great things. So this one's a little light. I want my oil to be a little darker, so I'm going to pull this off, and we're going to make one more. All right. Oh, comments. Hey, guys. I can see you there. Are there thumbs ups or thumbs downs? There's a mirror there, so I can sort of see you guys are there. Hopefully you're enjoying this, and it's not too crazy. I know it's at a different time than our usual time, but I don't know. Is there love out there? Can I get love? No? I don't know. All right, we'll see. All right, so again, I'm going to cheat. Oh, I got love. Ah, thank you. I'm just going to use my rolling pin again. I'm a cheater. And I'm just going to roll this out. All right. It's really not cheating, but I am not claiming to be, a fry bread making whiz. Again, go to a powwow, go to somewhere in the Southwest, up in Montana, in Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, Washington State, lots of Native American communities, lots of people making fry bread, and try some if you haven't. It's really good. We don't eat it here at the house. We've got dietary goals, and it's a little counterproductive, to what we're doing, but it's a good treat, and I like it. All right, so I've got my little dough here. I'm gonna poke my hole. I'm gonna stretch it out just a little bit more with my hands. I can feel it. It's thick. I don't know if you can see from where you're at, but I'm just thinning it out so I can almost see the light on the other side. All right, and I'm just gonna drop this in away from me again. And this will be the last one I make before we go off the air. But yeah, this one is a little underdone. My bad, the oil was not quite hot enough. You want it like to where you think it's burning, but I can smell it. It smells hot. So let's taste this one. It's light, right? It doesn't feel like fried bread, but it's so good. Oh my God. Seriously, this and like some mutton stew, done son. Oh my God. Oxtail stew, beef stew, pork stew, pozole, corn chowder. Oh my God. Amazing. Alright. So the fork is how the aunties do it, how the grandmas do it. I will typically use my tongs, so if you're at home, please use tongs. Be safe. I'm trying to be a little authentic here, but I'm not. So good. I wish you could try this, and I hope if you get a chance to make it, please let me know if you do, because it's really good. Alright, but I want to pull this piece off. Nice big piece of fry bread. And I'm just going to pull this one out. Oh, it's crunchy. If you let it cook too long, it gets too crunchy. But this feels good right here. So look at this, you guys. Beautiful, golden brown, delicious. You could probably go a little darker on this if you'd like. and a little less time. I'd say 20 to 30 seconds per side. And you'll see it'll float, it'll be crispy, it'll be done. This one is done too. It's really, I mean, it's bendable. You could make like a Navajo taco. They call the pinto beans, stewed pinto beans, lettuce, tomato, cheese, sour cream, the whole 9 yards. Good stuff. But thanks for stopping by. If you did, I appreciate the hearts and the thumbs up. I know this is not our usual time. And thank you so much for stopping by. That is beautiful Italy. It's sunny today. Who knows what we're getting tomorrow. This is April 8th. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to have to come around and push stop. So have a great day. Again, the recipe was 4 cups of flour. It's easy to remember, 4-3-2-2. 4 cups of flour, 3 tablespoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of table salt, and 2 cups of water, scant. I ended up using about 1.5 cups of water. So that's why I say go slow. You can always add more flour if you need to, but you don't want to end up with like 16 pounds of fry bread dough either. So have a great day, you guys. Ciao so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you next Thursday with some more meal prep ideas for the lovely Julie Talley in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Ciao, guys.